everybody, this is Rich from the Metal Cell podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Alex and Junior of Lockhorns to the show. How are you, lads?
Yes, very well.
And thanks for joining me. It's about time you were on the show, lads.
Not overdue.
Yeah. I was in The Siege, Alex, and I don't know what band I was watching, but this big long shadow came over me, blocking the light and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And sure, it was Junior standing behind me.
Towering over everyone.
What height are you, man? I'd say around 6'4", yeah? 6'3",
No,
6'4"?
6'6".
Fuck me. Okay, I was being generous then.
That's so phenomenal there.
What were we watching? Can you remember, Junior? No?
I was sober, and I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't know what drew us into him.
It was one before. I don't know if the band had started. I think they were setting up. I think maybe there was a band.
You know what it was? I know what it was. Was it Horrenda? Maybe we're setting up.
I can't remember. I thought it was, there was a gap between, because a couple of bands pulled out because of COVID.
Yeah, there was actually. There was, yeah. I'm nearly sure it might have been Horrenda, but just starting to set up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I got into a conversation with you, man. I was asking about your band and stuff. And you were telling me, from what I can remember now, did you go, was it 7-string or something? Or what did you do? You changed something anyway, and it was...
Well, that was part of it, yeah. So the guitar you would have seen at Siege is an 8-string now.
Oh, so, 8-string, okay.
Yeah. I was tempted for the 9, but sort of sat back on it. It was just during lockdown, writing on the 6-string and, going back to some of the older material. It had been years since we started writing that to when it came out, 2018.
Yeah.
And the band sort of, folks like Alex and whatever, they were sort of into the Korn and Deftones and that sort of sound. And they were pretty heavy, obviously, with Rhys being on the 6-string. But it would have been nice to have been able to go that little bit lower. Yeah. Just when you're with these bands that are in their down tuning, drop B, drop A, it's like it would be nice to sort of be among that, and have the possibility to drop low for these like more genty breakdowns. But it's tuned in the same way. So the first 6 strings are just as normal, and then I have a copy. Like I have my 7th string is an octave lower than my 5th string. Okay. And my 8th string is an octave lower than my 6th string. So we were tuned in drop C sharp with a 6th string, whereas we're still in C sharp, but I've got an octave below now to play with, which will just make the sound bigger, heavier.
Yeah, and was Rhys fucking around as well with the bass?
Did he? Did he switch?
Yeah.
No, he's still in the 6 strings. So he always had that 6th string. So there was a lot of low end that was coming from Rhys. Okay. Whereas now I can sort of dip my toe in and match him for certain breakdowns or whatever, or moments that we just need that, thunder down under.
Yeah. And Alex, do you play any instrument?
Yeah, I play a bit of guitar, man, but I do like acoustic stuff, so I wouldn't be able to keep up with the boys with any of the riffs or anything.
It's a different world, isn't it?
Yeah, I can do. I play a nice 3-chord acoustic song.
There's nothing wrong with that as well, man. Once you can get your ideas across.
Well, see, Alex will sometimes go like, "I want it like, ugh," or whatever. I'll be able to translate that from like onomatopoeia into like a physical riff.
Yeah. And what did you think of the Siege, lads? That was your 2nd time playing it, am I correct?
So that was our 3rd time.
Was it your 3rd? Jesus, okay. Very good.
So we did it in 2017, 2019, and then John hit us up again for this year.
Yeah, excellent stuff.
Even though necessarily with material and stuff, we didn't necessarily have it there, but we're not going to turn down a gig like that because it's one of the best going.
You can't, no.
Yeah.
And what did you think? Did it kind of live up to the expectations?
Absolutely. It's such a, it's one of the best, that's what I'm saying, it's one of the best gigs going. And now each time now we've played all 3 stages, which is nice, We've done the whole circuit and come back around. But it's every time we go down, there's always in front of a new crowd, there's new faces there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yes. Yeah.
It's unfortunately this time there was a few of the Rhys whatever had commitments the next day, so we had to blast back up the road. So weren't able to catch, or stayed there about 9-10, but making it back up north at, 4.5 hour drive. It was like, we're just delaying the inevitable. If we leave at 10, we're back at 2. We leave at 11, we're back at. So we missed Conjure, but it was just that there was a moment where we were sitting upstairs in the sort of terrace area.
Okay.
And just sort of like, even though I was dead sober, even when I was chatting to you, you're saying you had like 6 pints, there was just that like vibe, you're just like, right time to party, or this is such, you're just buzzing to either get on stage, or you're buzzing because you've just been off, and seeing the other bands loading in. It's just this like, machine of people moving gear upstairs, drummers finishing sound checks, and it's just nice to hear after COVID,
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was a huge lift after COVID. You're spot on. Alex, what were your impressions of the crowd on the night?
Yeah, I think we started a little bit early, so people were still filing in when we started, but once we got everyone in, it was a good show. It always is, so I sometimes struggle to hear when I'm up on stage. All I can hear is I'm always in front of the drum kit, so I'm just by the time I finish, my ears are ringing. All I can hear is cymbals, so like you just get up and have fun, man, and make a load of noise and try to give people what they want,
Yeah, and you had a few lads up the front as well that were familiar to you, Wayne and the lads.
Yeah, it's always good to see them too. I appreciate them coming down.
Yeah, that was their first Siege, I'm nearly sure.
Oh yeah,
have you been Wayne and stuff for Siege? Oh really?
Well, I think it was, as far as I know. I could be wrong. And were you following the Metal to the Masses finals in Belfast there last week? Was it last weekend or the weekend previous? I'm not sure now.
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago, yeah. Haint won it.
Yeah, they took it, yeah. Not as familiar, because obviously we had taken that break. So a lot of these bands, there was a few bands there that we were expecting to be in Metal to the Masses. Obviously, Eldridge took it a wee while back. But bands like Ketos and stuff like that there, we were expecting to see those guys back, but it's just, it seems like it's a sort of new wave, these bands that have formed in COVID or whatever. So there's a few that I was familiar with and a few I wasn't,
Yeah, that's what I was asking you, because I mean, you've got like the likes of Survivalists now coming through as well. The scene is definitely a lot stronger, and archives, for the scene with these bands coming through. I was just wondering, like, since you've been doing it since when?
No, we've been going 16.
Yeah, 16. So 2018, was that the Metal to the Masses then for you?
For us, it was 2019.
Oh, 2019. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great seeing all these bands coming through, and I think it's an important aspect of the Northern Ireland metal scene is the Metal to the Masses.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's sort of where we got our feet below us,
Yeah.
We were ready for that, for the show, It took, that's sort of like, I don't know what you want to call it, like, you need to sort of do that. I feel like to sort of realize where you're at, amongst these other bands. Obviously, we were talking Oracle and Shrouded and those folks, just from our experience. These bands that have been about a while, it takes a while to get their feet underneath them to go, okay, this is how it's meant to look. This is how you start a show. This is how you end it. And this is how it's supposed to sound.
Yeah.
That, the final in Belfast, I think, is, one of the best. And you sort of know, okay, we're ready.
Yeah.
Or we're not. And Simon Hall knows what he's doing, So I definitely feel he chose us on the right time for that Bloodstock performance. When looking back, you're like, nah, he made the right decision, We needed to take those losses in order to make sure we have the best possible stage show for Bloodstock.
Yeah. I mean, you look at, say, someone like Nomadus now, who were the runners-up. Yeah. You'd expect them to be nailing it next year and winning that final.
Yeah, like those guys, Nomadus, they were with us in 2019 Heat as well.
Oh, we're Haint around then? Haint? I keep laughing at Haint. They still haven't released anything yet.
Oh, really? I know, I say they're new to me as well, But Nomadus were on the 2019 one, so with them being runners-up, that'll put a little bit of, a fire underneath them.
It will.
But by the time they come back, they're going to be
See, they had problems as well with lineups. They couldn't get a drummer for ages. That was a major setback for them. Yeah. So, Freddie, Alex, do you know Freddie, fellow Portuguese?
Yeah, I've spoken to him a few times. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember he was telling me he was going back to visit his family and everything, and I was like, "Oh, you're so lucky, man! I haven't been back in over a year, you know."
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, with restrictions and travel, is it more so?
It's been tough getting back, but I'm hopefully going back in August for a good month or so.
Yeah. So I suppose for people that don't know too much about you, we might as well talk about how you got formed anyway, and bring people up to speed where you are at the moment, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So which one of you wants to take that? Alex, how did you meet Junior?
Yeah, I'll do a bit of talking. My Junior's still in the spotlight.
He'll steal the spotlight. That's what guitarists do, Alex.
Center stage next time.
Yeah, we all met in tech, like back in, was it 2013, 2014? Is that right?
Yeah, late 2014.
Yeah, and we were playing with survivalist singer Gavin. At the time he was playing guitar with us, and I think we were called Mountains. I think that was the name of the band. And then that never went anywhere. You know, it sort of fizzled out after a while. And then we brought in Corey. He was in tech as well, and then eventually I was in tech with Rhys as well, and he got brought in, and that's it, man. The rest is history, pretty much.
And what were you doing in tech? Were you all doing different subjects, or?
We're all studying music, but we're all in different years.
Okay.
So I didn't really meet Corey until he was brought into the band, you know.
Right. Okay.
Rhys was in my class and stuff, and there was another guy called Lee Shaw too that's still floating about, but I don't know if he's doing music right now, you know. And hopefully he gets back on it.
And that was tech. Did you say was that in Belfast? Was it?
Yeah, it was Bangor Tech.
Okay, Bangor Tech. Okay.
Yeah, so not too far from Belfast. And then we just started working on the songs. And actually, Lee was working with us in Lochorns for a while, and then he went off to uni. And then that's when we brought Rhys in.
Okay.
Because Rhys was predominantly a drummer at the time.
No way.
Yeah, he's playing with, I don't know what's going on with Oracle, but I think they're still going, you know, and he does drums for them.
Do you know what? That makes so much sense because your rhythm section is incredible in that band.
Yeah, it's tight, right?
There's a little gem of knowledge there, Alex. There.
All percussionists.
And Junior, were you always hoping that you'd be as a 4-piece, or were you open to becoming a 5-piece, or what was your thinking?
Yeah, that end of 2014 when we were playing with Gavin, there was a drummer. That was me and Gavin on guitar.
Right.
And that was the plan, like a 5-piece sort of setup, like a Lamb of God, you know, guitar player, bass, drummer, vocalist up front. But for a long time we were just jamming in the room. We needed a good bassist. Someone knew you leave through somebody else. And then it was like, right, who do we get to scream? And all of a sudden it's this little this little guy who floating about Bangor, like apparently scream like Randy Blythe. And we're like, right, let's get him in. And so we were working on a couple of tracks, and then it sort of fizzled out a wee bit. Just people couldn't make rehearsals, and we didn't know where we were taking these, just as bands do, that they're starting up. But I was like, once I was in, I was like, right, I had Alex, and I was like, right, that's the hardest bit to get for me. You know, it's like, how do you get the vocals? And at that time, 2014, me and Corey were in the same class. We were studying HND in music. Okay. But my sort of head was, I was sort of into that prog heavy tech metal, Sugar, Fear Factory, like real bad. Whereas Corey was, ever since I knew him, he was Megadeth. So I didn't know if he would be the drummer for what I was thinking, you know. And then I did a few drum covers with him. We did a few Megadeth drum covers. And I was like, right, he's got the feet. Because that's the thing with the metal. Yeah. You're like, I need somebody who has those quick feet. So then we had the three together. We had Lee. And then as part of our end of year sort of performance, we needed to do something. And I was like, right, this would be a great time to sort of get all these guys together and perform. But because of issues with trying to get guitar players and like just somebody up to the wall, you know, you need somebody right in line with how you write. and I'm not really into that metalcore. There's a specific sound that I'm after. It doesn't need to be too flashy, and that's kind of the issue with two guitar players. Is that one is always like trying to like do the other.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm all about the riffs because some of Lockhorns is complicated, but some of it is just about the riffs.
Yeah.
It's not at my top level of playing. I'm sort of playing at 40, playing for the riff. And for me, it was always that thing of, Pantera was the 4-piece, and the riffs were so good. And they were never complicated, but they were so like...
I'm one of the most talented guitarists in the scene, but you're right, yeah. It was more about the riffs for them. Like
the best bits with Pantera for me were the riffs. And they just, it's not... And Dimebag could play well, could play so much more in his riffs.
Yeah.
But he might have only been playing 3 notes or whatever. So that was kind of where I was like, right, I think I can get that sound of just the 4 of us. Especially when Rhys and Lee with that slap bass, that sort of feels like so much of the sound that I don't need this external, thing, especially with the guys loving Korn and things like that.
Yeah.
That was the setup, That's all we needed. So
a few jam sessions, and how was the writing progressing at that stage, lads?
That one there, so that was 2000, that was like end of 2015. And then the tracks we performed at the first show for the HND, they were all the previous songs. And once we got this new setup together, and I was like, right, it's a 4-piece. It's the name change. Basically, it was a new band. I was basically starting a brand new band. All the old material was scrapped, even though we had they give us, the other members said, go ahead, you can use that material. I was like, it's not really fair on people coming in because it's so different now. Yeah. Everyone's sort of input was different. So it was like, I think some of that, even on the old material, a lot of Alex's parts were written by the other guitar player. So it was like, right, I want everyone to have their own input and fresh, and it feels like everyone's band rather than like I've joined this band.
Yes.
As a member. So that at the end of 2015, kind of a year since we all sort of got together, that was when we came together. Right, this is finalized. This is Lockhorns. Okay.
And so what was the goal then? Was it just to, like, how many songs can you remember, we'll say, approaching the album? How many songs had you? Like, were you going to go for an album or an EP? Can you remember, Alex, at the time?
I was living the rock star life, man. Yeah, they'd send me the odd song and, write lyrics to that. And I wasn't really, I think I was involved in the beginning of it, but then I had other things going on and I was sort of drifting away from it a little bit. But mostly the process is they write stuff, I'll listen to it. If I have any strong opinions about it, I'll give them. But usually I'm more focused on trying to, find something with substance to write about.
Okay.
That tends to be the main thing. Like at the time, there was all this, division about, I think at the time it was Trump and Hillary and all this and that. But it all pales in comparison to what's going on today, I got that album and I was like, if I knew what was coming, it would have been so different.
And what about the title of the album?
Molon Labe.
Yeah.
Molon Labe, which it's Greek, isn't it? From what I can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Greek, and it was King Xerxes, wasn't it? It was a Persian army came over to try and conquer Sparta, and they were like, surrender and give us your weapons, and the answer was Molon Labe, which means come and get them. So it was a defiant name for a defiant album, I thought.
Now, I don't know who produced it or mixed or mastered it, but let me guess, wouldn't be Josh by any chance?
Absolutely.
How could I have possibly guessed, huh? The fucking magician, as I call him. He's got his fingers involved in most bands up there and does an amazing job, to be fair.
He's got that sound, and he knows what we're after, it has to sound, you put on any other band, whether they're major label, and we want to be on that same, sonically, that same level,
Yeah.
We don't want that, you play one track and then our track comes on, you go, oh, this is clearly a local band. or or demo. That's the way I remember it being. When it was done on, actually burnt to CD or whatever.
Yeah.
It was, you could tell that it wasn't there if you didn't have like the tools at the time. And you bought a local band CD from a shop. But then because Josh has been doing what he's doing, he can do it so fast. It's like, you're not going to try and do it yourself because that's his, you give it to him. That's all he's going to be focused on.
Yeah. And was it just through other bands that he was working with that he came up on your radar, or you were aware of him? Or was there a particular band sound or something?
This is going way back. I actually forgot about this until you just said that. Before even Mountains, start of 2013, me and Josh were actually in a band together.
Very good.
It was a band called Ambience, and there was a kid, Josh Thornton. No, James Thornton was on drums. There was another a guy, Chris. So we were in a band called Ambience. And Josh was doing all the mixing out of his garage in the side of his house, which was in the winter, you were putting your hands in hot water in the kitchen. And when you were ready to track, you're drying them off and going in to play your part as fast as you can. So that's how I knew Josh. And Alex, you were there. We did one of the songs for a year later. We then went back to Josh, tried with that Mountains.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Forget about all that. It's been too long.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus.
I didn't know you guys were in a band, though.
Yeah. I still got that track somewhere.
I know he's so fucking talented, man. He was drumming for Survivalists there for a bit as well. I think he might have done the drums on the album, and then they got in another drummer and re-recorded everything, as far as I can remember now. With Survivalists, Gavin and the lads.
Yeah, I think Josh is one of if they're doing there's a band that got material and they're waiting for another member. I think Josh is the guy that can just step in and play whatever you need him to.
Yeah.
On the album, maybe that might have been the case. It's just one of those guys. You need bass. I can play bass. You need vocals. I'll scream on it. He was screaming for another band. I don't know whether it was Dream Awake or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Because I was saying to Freddie and Nomadus as well. If you're still short a drummer, why not let Josh do it for you, and at least then you'll get the release that bit closer to being completed while you're still looking. And if you can't find anything, Josh, just release it with Josh drumming, so but it seems to be a problem everywhere, is just the lack of drummers. I was laughing there, Junior, when you were saying you were finding it hard to find vocalists, but nowadays it's drummers.
I know we struck gold with Corey.
Yeah. And I know, are you playing with Stormzone Junior, or have you left them, or what's going on there?
Yeah, no, I was with Stormzone 2015 to 2018.
Okay.
But then,
what was that experience like for you?
That was fantastic. That was sort of that's just about a couple of months after I sort of formed Lockhorns. I got invited to do a couple of Spanish shows with them. Right. So that's why we sort of came out with the video and things like that. I sort of knew okay, they had been obviously about for a long time.
Yeah. So
there was a bit of experience going, okay, this is what the gear needs to sound like. This is what we need to look like. This is what we do. And just a little, the finesse of the set. As we always do with Alex, we talked about the gaps in the songs and what we should do in the gaps between songs. How we should end the set, and should end with this, and people get adjusted to hearing a certain song at the end.
Yeah,
they're sort of we can't really not play When to Go now.
Yeah.
But I know once people almost burnt us.
Yeah. So you learned all that stagecraft from Stormzone.
It was just more all right, here's the gear, the guitar has to sound like this, and all right, this is how you you put tape on the top of your guitar. I don't know what you can see on that blue guitar, but you put tape with all these little tips and tricks that take years as a band to sort of figure out. I was sort of getting the ins and out with Davey Bates, obviously drumming with Stormzone at the time, drummer extraordinaire for Sweet Savage, and obviously Lars sort of saw him play drums with Sweet Savage, and this was how he started. And also working alongside Davey and sort of going, right, the drummer needs to do this. He cues this. The drummer's in charge. He's the machine, you know? And go, okay, this is how we piece a set together. This is how we should write or whatever, and how we prep for a show.
Yeah. And were you ever worried, Alex, that Junior was going to give up Lockhorns for Stormzone?
No, well, obviously the music is the style of music is very different, you know, and I always knew that he preferred the heavier stuff, you know. I don't want to be cheeky or anything, but you know, I always was confident that that's what he, you know, that was his project and that's what he wants to do. You know, it's our project, and no matter what, I don't think we're gonna give it up for any reason. We've been a solid lineup for years now. I don't think that's gonna change.
Yeah. It's true, man. I mean, there's not many bands that don't have that situation, you know, like you have, that the all are the original members still.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky. And we, you know, we've only released one album, but hopefully we're going to change that soon.
But just to follow up, now that's kind of, you know, with the material, everyone sort of gets their input. You know, Corey at the moment is working on some stuff for the new, you know, and that's his baby, you know. I'm not no one's dictating this is what your drum parts are going to be or whatever, you know. Same with Alex. Alex will just do his thing. And, you know, unless it's very like, all right, maybe we should change that. Everyone sort of has their
yeah, man, you got to let me sing a bit more. Like,
what is it, sorry?
You got to let me sing a bit more, man. There's no singing, all right.
And let's talk a bit then in relation to new material. Can you give us much info at the moment?
Is that on me, Alex, isn't it?
Yeah, you go ahead.
So it's just as Alex was saying, you know, Alex likes to hear the final product. He likes to hear the drums on it, the guitar or whatever. But there's new material coming. We're sort of working on the last track of 8. That's what we were just chatting about before. And that's where the 8-string sort of came in. So first album, Molon Labe, came out 2018. Immediately, sort of like 6 months after that, we started writing new material. 2019, we had a couple of songs together on the 6-string. And when I was thinking, right, we got to blast this out quicker, just get the content out. Then the pandemic hit. Of
course,
so we're about 4 songs in, but we were busy with like Bloodstock and local shows. And we obviously Urban Assault, which we were down at as well. Just that it was about 5 weeks before it all kicked off.
Yeah,
lockdown. So then we were about 4 songs in March 2020, and then me and Rhys, the bass player, we were trying to do some stuff on FaceTime, like riffs, and sending audio files back. And basically, what I was doing was collecting like words. These riffs were just words in folders, like 120 BPM. Here's a whole bunch of riffs. 150 BPM. So it wasn't necessarily putting songs together. I just had a collection of riffs that, you know, I don't like the idea of just putting together a full track and then just Rhys doesn't have his input on it.
Yes.
Because some of the best, my favorite moments on the first album are all Rhys's riffs.
Yeah, so it's like, that's mad, isn't it?
And when we're together, it's like we can bounce stuff off each other real quick. And that lockdown just sort of, you know, it's not ideal doing it over Zoom when it's this like proggy and sort of technical. It's not, you know, it's not a case of sending it across and they'd be like, what's the time signature in this?
How weird did you get with it, Junior?
Of the material?
Yeah.
Well, on one of these new tracks, it's called, the demo name at the moment is called Sheeple.
Right.
And it's in 15/8. And it's a pattern that goes a pattern of 3, a pattern of 2, pattern of 1, pattern of 1, pattern of 2, and a pattern of 3.
Right.
And it just repeats that pattern for the entire song. It's chaos. And obviously Corey's doing crazy stuff on the drums, but even just that is an idea. But that idea of the 15/8, the 3-2-1 came from Corey putting something up in a group chat about this divine proportion, and everything is 3 2s and 1s and 1s, 2 and 3s. And then from that there, I was like, right, I'm going to write an entire track with that 3-2-1, 1-2-3. So I've kind of taken it, you know, we've been a bit chaotic, basically. Yeah. We're off the rails.
I'm almost grimacing at Alex how you're going to tackle that one, man.
I know they just do these things on purpose to mess with me, man.
Oh God!
But like with the first album, even though it'll be melty, there'll still be that like rhythm in there. Yeah, always.
Oh, it has to be, man. That's your sound, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And are you going to work with Josh for the next one? Can you reveal that, or where are you in relation to you've did you say 7 completed? Is it?
Yeah, there's 7, but yeah, 7 written, the 8th one as well. Actually, just to go back real quick, we actually during lockdown, that was with the songs that we had, we scrapped them completely. Yeah. So technically, from
I think you said that to me. I'm nearly sure you said that to me in the Siege. Yeah.
So May of last year, when I got the 8 string, sort of started track 1 again.
Yeah.
And just before the 8 string arrived, we went in with Josh to record a single, which we'll release ahead of the album. But that was like a preliminary, like, right, how fast can we write? Can we put together an entire track in 6 weeks? An Alcorn track of like rhythms and all kind of be done. The guitar done in a week, drums, bass, Alex and the vocals, and then right, because I wanted to have this album out. But in terms of who's going to record it, I mean, we don't know yet. Obviously, we've got a bit of money from James through the project with James Loveday, so there's a bit of funding behind the next release.
Oh, that's great to hear. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was for the DP Records. So through I can't remember exactly the details of it, but the recording is all looked after, so we don't have to pay anything towards that. The printing, publishing, there's money towards promotion this time.
Okay.
But I don't know. It just depends on the sound. There's a particular sound I wouldn't mind. Obviously, we went with Josh, but in order maybe to stand out, we might need to take it elsewhere. Yeah. As you say, you're like, oh, who recorded Molon Labe? Let me have a guess. It might be nice to have something that's, not that obviously Josh does a fantastic job, but it might be a case of, seeing a band that we like, and like that's the sound we're really after. If it's like, say, I don't know, it's Korn or Fit for an Autopsy or something like that.
Yeah. Fit for an Autopsy. Jesus.
Or Fit for an Autopsy, and going, who mixes their stuff? How much does he charge? Well, that's the sound we're after. Let's go down there,
Yeah, I mean, the lads in Baylor went with, what's his name from, was it Germano or Conan? I'm just trying to think. And Fold Studios. Can't remember. But yeah, there's an argument to be made to look around, yeah, definitely.
Especially when we've got the funding,
And are you still with Enzo Music Management?
No, we ended with those guys in September 2019, so we were there for a year with them.
Okay.
Absolutely, for the time that we were there, we got a couple of dates. We did a few dates over in England, things like that there. But at the time, it just didn't seem financially the best move.
Okay. And are you managing yourselves at the moment, or what way are you kind of approaching even the likes of tours and stuff? Are you trying to set them up yourselves?
Yeah, that'll be the plan. Once this material's out, we'll be with the funding, it'll be putting out a huge amount of money. That was kind of the downfall of the last album. We spent the money, made the album, we go, right, we spent this much, we can't spend that much on promotion. Whereas now, having done that, we go, oh, we really should have spent twice the amount on promotion as we did on the album.
Yeah.
So that's where this time's going to come in, and
cool.
We've spoke to a few different folks.
I'm sure there's going to be lots of interest in you lads.
We have this product.
Yeah.
No one knows about it. No one's heard it. No one's seen it. 6 months. What can we do with this 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
How do we? We need 3 month layup for release and a 3 month tail end of promotion. That's kind of what we missed last time.
Yeah.
We need to build the buzz, and then we have obviously the bonus track that'll come out before that even starts with the buzz. But no, somebody will look after it promotion wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right move. Again, there's plenty. You'd have to kind of maybe look more so at the UK or Europe in relation to certain bands and how they're being promoted and what press they're getting. So it's interesting. I think you're right there as well. You could almost do the same thing the way you were on about getting a producer to do the album, have a look at the bands that he's done. Could be the same with PR as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because it's this time, no expense spared.
The biggest issue as well is social media in relation to the metal industry. It's a fine line to tread. You know, you really have to push really hard yourself as a band and hope also that whoever's behind you will do the same. How do you feel about that, Alex?
Yeah, I'm usually pretty quiet on social media. You know, I'm a bit of a ghost. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I usually leave that up to the rest of the guys, man. You know, I'm not really skilled in those.
As the interview is progressing, Junior, I'm kind of seeing a common trait with Alex.
See, before shows, you know, you just wind them up at the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give them a dose of caffeine.
My kids, man, you know, I like to write funny stories and do a bunch of screaming. You know, that's my job. Nice and simple, man. Yeah.
So, Junior, what about that question to you? The influence of social media in relation to the metal industry. How big is it, do you think? How important is it for a band to have that on, have a correct?
It's content, you know, it's like constant, but it's not like you're doing, you know, we're not setting up a phone and doing silly dances on TikTok. You can just blast, you know, you can't, that's easy to put out a video a week, or you might, there's really funny bands, something Oils, or by, you know, they do like Dead Oils or something, you know, the band.
No.
They do like funny little sketches.
Okay.
As like promotion, you know, for the shows. But it's just content, you know, and you know, it takes a while. I don't think people realize how long and strenuous a project can take to go from 0 to 8 tracks, you know. Yeah. We're talking May of last year, we're in May now, and we're just approaching our 8th track. So by the time we get that out, you know, and it's just one of those things. So if for the time of the album cycle, it's just going to be, you have to be in everyone's face every day. You got to be posting every day. People forget. People just forget, you know.
And there's so much content out there as well. I mean, you're competing with so many other bands. So, yeah, I wouldn't fancy it myself. You'd have to look as well what are going to come up in relation to the singles, the new singles. Are you going to do videos? Like, I know you did 3 videos for the last album. Are you going to do another 3 again? Who are you going to work with? There's just so much there to think about, isn't there?
Absolutely. Well, Jim Crone did all our previous videos. Yeah, actually, he did two of the 3. But absolutely, we'll take Jim on again. I think he's the best at it. You know, he's like the Josh of filmmaking for music videos for me. Anyways, I think his input for the Wendigo was just like unrivaled. You know, that was class. Like, yeah. Just there was so much location, and you know, most of all those Wendigo shots, like the solo Wendigo shots, were all Jim. Me and Corey were there, but we weren't input. I just trusted. I was sort of spying down the lens of the camera what he was capturing and what he had in mind, and he just took it away. But for the new album, yeah, it'll be again just promotion, and this is what I was saying. So we'll bring somebody on board. He has this mind. He's going, all right, guys, we'll need this from Corey. Corey, we need 4 playthroughs from the album. Alex will need a vocal playthrough. You know, yes, we'll need this. All right, here's on Monday, you're posting the photo. Wednesday, you're posting the video. Friday, we need bass. We need an interview for here. And there's the clip and blah, blah, blah. We need somebody that's just like on board. We're paying whatever the monthly fee is. And he's going, right, we need this from you, this from you, this from you. Because it's very hard as a band to sort of go, oh, we'll do this. It'll be a fun thing. And then all of a sudden, you know, whatever, you know, you're cutting the grass or something, you know, it's like adult shit sort of gets in the way sometimes of going, oh, I need to pick up my phone, especially when it's not natural for metalheads to just pick up a phone and start filming themselves. I know. Like,
I think that's a major problem with us in general.
The last thing on my mind, but yeah.
So I'm going to play the title track off the last album and see if it will stir some memories about recording it. It's Molon Labe. is fantastic. Jesus Christ, it's great. This is what's coming, lads, and it's going to be new and improved and better, I presume.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Getting goosebumps listening to that, man.
I was trying to think of who did Baylor's album, and it was Lewis Johns. That's who it was. So if you are aware of Baylor, check out the album, Disposable Youth, and the sound on that album is incredible. Might suit you. He's over in the UK.
Absolutely, yeah. But that's what we'll be, once we start to get into that, you know. We might even send some of our demo stuff across and see what they can do.
And are both of you from a musical or artistic family?
Yeah, my mother was an art teacher, you know, so she always pushed me to follow my dreams too. So I don't think she liked the music too much, but she's glad that I'm doing what I enjoy, you know.
Class. Okay. And Junior?
Yeah, the parents don't play, the others don't play music, but they don't play an instrument, but they do love music.
So music is always on the background in the house.
Yeah. Not metal, of course.
Yeah.
You know, it was Garth Brooks from the Mother and Dad. Dad being from Ghana, so he was always playing Ghanaian music and, you know, Tupac and Biggie and things like that there. So
brilliant.
A lot of hip hop and rap and whatever else. But my brother, older brother Jermaine, he sort of got into the metal when he went to secondary school. So vicariously, you know, listening to what he was listening to, obviously as a little brother, you're sort of going, this is, you know, Killswitch Engage at the time and Bullet and all. I was like, this is like, and then even in that era as well, we shared a bedroom, but the CD player was on the wall, so we all, you know, there was no getting away. I didn't have headphones, I didn't have a device. It was like if we're playing GTA San Andreas or Vice City, we're putting on some Machine Head's Blackening in the background. Perfect. You know, and we're all just listening to, you know, so it was just through that, and I sort of obviously as a chaotic kid resonated with that.
Man, that's cool. And what about, is there any type of metal that you don't like?
That's a funny question. Like, I guess a lot of stuff that I hear nowadays, like new stuff, it almost sounds too polished or something, you know. Like I really like, for me, I really connected with those early Slipknot, early Korn albums, you know, and like all the imperfections were left in there, you know.
Okay. And
it was just really dirty and aggressive sounding, but things nowadays, I sometimes feel like the soul's been taken out of it a little bit, you know.
And what about specific genres of music, Alex? I don't want to be pushing you, but I fucking will, though.
Specific genres of metal?
And do I have to name out a few? How about like folk metal? How many folk metal songs, albums?
I don't know anything about folk metal, man, you know. I've pretty much got my little pocket of music that I listen to, you know, and it's mostly that early 90s, 2000 kind of stuff, you know, like new releases. I would listen to Gojira a lot, Meshuggah. I would enjoy their stuff, you know, but the golden age of metal for me was the 90s, man, the 2000s.
Okay, interesting. Mine would be probably the 80s. It reflects my age.
I don't really listen to that much metal nowadays either, to be honest. You know, I've been going down a bit of a soul train, you know.
Oh, cool. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that either, man.
Yeah, I like to branch out a bit. You know, I always come back to metal, but like I go through phases of listening to different other stuff. But it always does come back to metal. At the end of the day.
Yeah. Junior, plenty of time to think there.
Yeah. What are we talking, genres or metal bands that don't like?
Is there any type of metal genre that you don't like?
Not that I don't like, it's just there's ones that I don't listen to as frequently, you know. I probably would, I think, sort of death metal, I wouldn't be towards that, you know. It's not that I don't like it, there's some, you know, there's definitely tracks that are sort of, you know, but even in death metal, it would be towards melodic death metal. Okay. I don't know whether that's the Scandinavian necessarily, like Viking, you know. Where I was big, there was a period I was big into Amon Amarth.
Yeah, like,
you know, fire metal. Well, I don't know. Maybe that a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of maybe like it's more, I suppose, sometimes the imagery. People that are sort of like posing as metal, or bands that sort of teetered off from being like fully metal and have went elsewhere, you know. But then there was, you know, that's what I'm saying. Alex was saying there about the 90s, saying about the 80s, whereas for me, my sort of introduction was like Iowa.
Okay.
And I went like Fear Factory, Bullet, Meshuggah. They were like all the bands like I was into, you know. So it took, actually I was a bit late to go back for things like Master of Puppets and even in 2000, I think it was maybe 2012 or 13. I kept talking to folks about metal, and everyone was like, "Oh, you got to listen to this, listen to," and it was always like the older track. You got to listen to Metallica's discography, and I was like, "No," because I like it's not heavy enough, you know. And like it needs to be like it's very hard when you hear like Bleed by Meshuggah as a kid, and then they go back in time, you know.
Yeah, it is, and those albums are established. So I just find it interesting that when maybe say both of you were getting into Slipknot, were Slipknot still at their best at that stage? So you can vividly remember waiting for the next Slipknot album and just being really excited about it.
Absolutely, yeah. This was like 2002. You know, I had the Iowa hoodie. It was fresh. You know, it was just Scuzz. You just waiting on Scuzz going right. You know, it normally comes on like every 40 minutes. You know, before I forget or reality or whatever it was. It was like you're just gonna wait by crying. You're like switching from crying to Scuzz, crying to Scuzz. Yeah. You know, and I was so young. I was so young that I don't even know if I wasn't even able to buy the CD because of the explicit.
I went to Sonosphere maybe in 2012 or 2011, and Slipknot were headlining one night, and on this they were headlining the second night. I could be wrong, but the first night then was the Big Four on the first night. So I'll never forget the crowds for Slipknot. It was insane. Witnessing them, and you know, being fair, at the time I was thinking, they're pretty cool, but after witnessing that performance, that like at no stage were all the members on the stage. They were literally fucking double flipping into the crowd and climbing back out, and it was just mayhem. Like, but I've seen them since twice, I think, all in all, and both of them were outdoor stages, and both of them were fantastic. So they're a fantastic live band. Do any of you suffer from anxiety before you go on stage, by the way?
No, I think we've been doing it for so long now. You know, like Junior and I both, we're playing in cover bands as well around Belfast, you know.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that.
That's how we make a big part of our living. So we're always on stage, you know, every weekend, 2, 3, 4, or 5 times a week, you know.
And is it all types of material that you're in the cover bands, or is it kind of mainly rock? Or
it's just whatever. Like, I mean, personally, I have to play stuff that I enjoy. You know, I can't just play the chart music, or else I'll die on stage, man. You know, there has to be a happy medium. You know, so just easy listening to stuff that people know, stuff that people like. You know, upbeat stuff. You know, it depends where you're playing as well. Sometimes.
So like
hotels and restaurants,
you could be playing, say, something like Creedence Clearwater Revival or The Doors or something like that.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Or a bit of Amy Winehouse, you know.
Okay.
And then that's us during the day, and then the next day we're doing Siege or something, you know.
Yeah, eventually.
And what about unexpected situations on stage? Any mad stuff happen to you that, you know, needn't necessarily have been with Lockhorns or something like that, but just any crazy people accost you on the stage, or any mad stuff that you've seen?
Yeah, I think I have a story that tops everyone's. Like, I was up in Carrick one time playing with Corey, and this guy kept turning to us all night being like, "Oh, I really enjoy your covers," you know, and every song that we played, you'd get more and more excited. I don't know, I think he must have been taking something. But at one point he got up on stage and he took his top off, you know, and that was all fine. You know, he was up on stage with us with his top off, but then he decided he was going to take it further and pull his pants down, you know. And at first he was all happy with himself, waving his arms about and stuff. And then you see all the people in the crowd, all the cameras started coming out, and then he got shy, he pulled the pants up again. Corey was sitting poking him with the drumstick, trying to get him off stage and stuff, That's probably the maddest one. That probably tops all of them.
Jesus, that's pretty embarrassing. All right. And of course, these days as well, everything is caught on phone anyway. So
yeah, I tried to find that video too. I was going to put it up on our page, What
about you, Junior?
No, not well. When you're doing in the bar gigs, you're at the mercy of the general public. There's always going to be someone falling into the gear. There's asking for stuff, holding pints over your gear. But no, there's not been anything. Not as much as someone getting their their bits out. Nothing like that. Not at the cover gigs, but the Lockhorns.
Harder, man. They get naked for you.
The next gig, that's the plan. But no, even in like the anxiety, you were saying about anxiety for Lockhorns and stuff, but it's more just about the gear. I think about I'm always thinking if a string snaps, not so much about getting up and the performance of it.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, hopefully Corey can hear the guitar. I'm hoping Alex can hear his vocals. I'm hoping it sounds. I'm hoping they've mixed it the bass is really loud up front and not like a two-beat. Because it's happened a couple of times where I went on and the guitar is so loud because the band before I've had two guitar players.
Right.
And I get on without just a quick line check. I play the guitar and it's so loud that it's like I can't hear even the bass. Whereas it should sound like Korn, where the bass is right up there with the guitar. So it's just a bit of anxiety about that, making sure where is the venue, where's parking, we're loading in, what kind of guitar cab's going to be there, is the kit going to be right for Corey? Even Bloodstock, Corey was playing, and cymbals were flying off the stage.
What? I'm surprised at that. Bloodstock, because usually they're uber professional.
It's just Corey's an animal, so
okay.
just smart, but it was whatever. It's just because it's such a quick setup and the way the cymbals were. Things were just being, obviously the set was just so massive.
Yeah, of course.
The stage was rocking,
Yeah. So upcoming gigs, I think you have, you're returning to Templemore Festival, which is nice.
Yeah, that was a good show. Played it last time, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's always, that was actually that's probably one of my favorite gigs we've played.
Wow.
Yeah. Great.
It was just like I don't know, it was like one of those, backyard wrestling sort of vibes. Because it was in a bar, but you're in a wooden decking area and there was nothing between. You're not up above, you're on the level with those guys.
Yeah.
So I think Alex, you're probably out amongst them.
Yeah, it was calming, the sun was shining, the beer was flowing, I could see everybody nice and clearly, it sounded so good too. On stage, it sounded really good.
Yeah.
That was we'd only maybe been performing 8 months of that first show, and people were absolutely loving it. Because you're sort of at that stage, you're still kind of trying to win people over. Like you were saying at the Siege we had a little group in front that knew the material, knew what we were about, and we're ready for it.
Yeah.
Whereas when we went down to Templemore at that time, that was the first show south, so it was they didn't know what to expect from us.
Yeah.
We did do a Soundgarden cover though, remember that?
The only cover ever.
Yeah.
There's one for you, man. It's his anniversary today. Shout out to Chris.
Right,
yeah. It was we only had 5-6 songs and they wanted us to do a 40-minute set.
So which Soundgarden song did you do?
It wasn't Soundgarden, it was Audio Slave, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Cheese, I think we played,
Oh, class, yeah.
That's the Lockhorn version of it. And it was because he had died not long before that, so we thought, if we're going to do a cover, we might as well do a shout out to Chris Cornell,
Yeah, nice.
Plus, that Audio Slave was a 4-piece setup too,
And we'll say, in general, do you do practice during rehearsals?
Well,
we've been known to play the odd break stuff cover, Limp Bizkit.
Classic lads.
Not much. So we sort of just get in there and then blast the songs out really most of the time.
And so the Templemore Music Festival is June the 4th. That's actually coming up really fast. I saw you actually down in Urban Assault. That was a really, really good gig as well. That was a busy day. There's a lot of bands back and forth that day. Can you remember that?
That feels like a lifetime ago.
Urban Assault in Cork?
Yeah, I can't remember. I thought it was pretty chill. I didn't think it was too mad. I actually thought that most recent Siege was probably the tightest turnaround that we've ever done. With 20 minutes between bands, one band finishing and one starting. So it was like 10-minute line check and good to go. You know, we were moving quick, and it was like we were still kind of like tuning up. You know, we were good to go. But that result felt, you know, was really professional. You know, good gear.
Yeah.
I think there was a 30-minute changeover, which is more like it. You know.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw you actually, and then of course it was the Siege this year. I didn't see for some reason on one of the Sieges as well. There might have been a clash. But did you play downstairs on the first Siege, the Casbah, was it, or were you upstairs?
The first Siege was the back bar. I don't know, it's Kabash.
Yeah, that's it, the Casbah, yeah.
Casbah. We were there the first year, in the main stage the second year.
Wow.
So it was us, Baylor, and then Conjure. And then this year we're upstairs.
Right, okay. Jeez,
switching it up.
So is there any... What you say, Alex?
I say we've done the tour of the place. Yeah.
yeah. So have you any other gigs coming through that you can say, or is it just Templemore for the moment?
At the moment, just Templemore for now.
Okay.
Just and then focus on the writing, but the plan is obviously that's what we're saying. Is for put actual big shows together, you know. Because we played Belfast last December, but it's like I don't want to go out and play the same material. We get a bit of buzz going and potentially not that absolutely love playing Belfast. It's one of the best places to play, but we need to have some, you know, like the couple of shows we did out over in England were just outrageous, you know. One to get out and play, but actually as a band just jump on the stand line and go wild for a couple of days, you know. And it's just getting in front of as many people as possible. So and sometimes what we do find is that the shows take focus away from the writing.
Okay. So
if we have a show, June, July, when we're together, instead of writing material, we're like rehearsing. Yeah. You know, Corey likes to have his drum parts together for all the old material. Exactly.
Did you do a new song at the Siege? I think you did you?
Yeah.
We did a couple of new tracks.
Yeah, class.
Yeah, we had a new track. We did 2 tracks, Frenzy and Slatra, they were called, preliminary. So it was just they were the ones that were in the back burner for the longest. A couple of the first ones we'd done. So it was just to see how they felt live, you know.
And what were your impressions of them? Did you kind of look at the crowd's reaction as well, or were you just lost in the moment? Alex, you probably had a better view of everything.
Yeah, I was trying to make sure not to make any silly mistakes, man. You know, like Zlatra was half jammed, you know. There wasn't exactly any set lyrics for it, so I was like, I'm just gonna, as long as I know the structure of the song, I'm just gonna get up and groove with it, you know.
Yeah,
people seem to dig it though, you know. But I think they sort of need to hear it a few times, you know, on headphones and in a controlled environment to really appreciate it, you know. But they seem to enjoy it.
Cool. Okay, lads, if there's anything else, now's the time to shout out.
I think so. No, I think we're all good.
Yeah, keep an eye on your socials then, really, and get to Templemore Music Festival on June the 4th. See Loughcorns live.
Absolutely,
how many songs have you even decided for a set list for that even?
There's about 8 tracks.
8 tracks, and maybe 2 new ones live?
2 new ones, yeah. There's going to be a few changes to those as well.
Okay, excellent stuff.
That's kind of what the Siege was, road testing some of that material, but in a couple of months, we'll start to hear some stuff leading up to this next release.
Brilliant. And as I said, lads, you can give me a shout, give me a heads up. If you want anything promoted on the show, I'd gladly do that. If you want to get down to Cork, contact Evan on Dead Cult Promotions. He should be able to sort you out for a gig for hopefully next year, or even if you think you can get down before Christmas, it'd be a welcome addition.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
I think
cool.
show.
So you've been listening to Alex and Junior from Loughorns. Thanks again for coming on the show, lads.
Well, thanks very much, man. Good chatting to you.
And thank you.
Yeah, and crucially, support your local metal scene.